my name is Abe Berkeley Vigil, and this is Cooking on the Fly, recipes for the college student on the go. Alright guys, now it's time to bring out the turkey. This is the ground turkey. You can find it at any local store. Now what we have to do is we have to season this. So what I like to do is I like to compile all my spices together, mix them, and then kind of roll the meat into that. And then mush it with my hands so it can be integrated throughout. But I'll show you what I mean by that. So we're first going to start off with salt. Salt is the most basic flavoring, so we're just going to put a lot of it on here. Now we're not going to use all this. It is going to be a little excessive. We're just using it to rub the meat in it. So that's the salt. Next what we'll use is garlic salt. We'll put a lot of that in there, because that's a good flavor. Put a little cumin. Just kind of bang it out. And then you'll add ground cinnamon. But not too much of it. It's a little bit of a strong flavor. Cracked pepper. You put a good amount of that in. Crack it a lot, but it will add some heat to your dish. Some jalapenos. And that is just how spicy you want it. It's just how much you add. Onions. This will be integrated throughout the meat. Oregano. Dried oregano from earlier. Little onion salt, but not too much because it has a very strong flavoring. And we already have some onions in there. But it just got a little bit of a slightly different taste than the real onions. And then some of the chili powder to add even a little more heat, a little different flavorings, different pepper. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to get up a fork, just kind of mix these all together, back and forth. And you can smell that this mix will have a very distinct smell to it. Now what I'll do is I will take some of the ground turkey, I'll grab a little ball of it in my hand, a lot of it, and I'll just kind of dip it into the mix I have here. And what you'll get is you'll pick up the spices and it should look something like this. Now yes, this looks like there's a lot on one side of the turkey. What you do is you just kind of roll it and fold it over, and that way you end up having all the seasonings integrated throughout the meat. And so although it looked excessively flavorful at first, it really isn't that bad. Now, if you want, you could do this with your whole thing of ground turkey. You don't have to keep doing it multiple times, but I'm just doing this to show you guys. What I'll do is I'll pour a little canola oil into this hot skillet. Usually I start off with oil in the skillet, but you don't want to use that much. What you're going to do is you kind of just want to move your skillet around. So just to make sure the whole bottom of the skillet is covered in oil. The reason why you don't want to use too much is you don't want very greasy taco meat. I'm just kind of moving around. Might be a little too much oil in there, but that's alright. Then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the ground turkey and put it into here. Now you want to be careful with this because if your oil is hot, the meat is going to start to sizzle. So I'm going to start off with this little piece. And you can hear that sizzle I was talking about. Now, when cooking ground turkey versus ground meat, ground turkey, because it's poultry, needs to be cooked thoroughly and cannot be cooked on levels like medium or medium well. It needs to be well done, cooked all the way through. Kind of big clump of meat right here. Alright. So you can hear that sizzle that's characteristic of frying something in oil. What you want to do is you kind of want to break it up because you don't want large clumps of meat in your tacos. You want little pieces. You can see the little onion that we've thrown in there. Little hints of the jalapeno pepper. What you'll get is a nice sizzle. You want to be cooking this on a fairly medium to high heat, but I would suggest a high heat, but something that's high enough to cook the meat thoroughly. Because a problem with cooking on high heat at times is you cook the outside so fast that you start to burn the outside before the inside has even been cooked. You just want to keep breaking up, keep moving it around so it doesn't cook too much. And just let it sizzle. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys, now that this meat is almost done and tasting delicious, I'm going to show you guys how you warm up the tortillas. Tortillas, you just want a little crispness to them. You don't want them to be stiff because you want to be able to bend them so you can eat them. Now, I spray a little pan down and we're just going to cook them on the skillet like this. What you do is with your hot skillet, you just kind of push down, let the tortillas warm up, and just make sure they get warm, maybe even a little bit brown. Now with your meat, what you do is you turn off your skillet, and you just let it sit. The skillet will remain warm. In fact, there may be even a little carryover cooking, which results from the hot skillet continuing to touch the meat. So you just kind of wash your tortillas, press down, maybe not with your hand, but with some tongs or something like that. So, anyway, so you just let your tortillas heat up. And when you feel like they're warm enough on one side, just flip them over. Now, something that you should know when buying tortillas is your tortillas should be very bendable, like this. And soon, you'll be ready to serve your tacos. So if your skillet's not too hot, you can just grab your tortillas off and place them on a presentation plate. So, here we go. These two will be your standard Mexican tortillas, and these will be your American tortillas. So remember, the Mexican tortillas will have the diced onions and cilantro along with the meat, and the American tacos will have the tomatoes, cheese, and lettuce. So you just scoop it out. It doesn't really matter what order you put the stuff on. I usually see the meat on the bottom, but you know, you can put the other ingredients on first, and it doesn't matter how it affects the taste. So just scoop enough, but you don't want to overflow the tortilla because then you won't be able to close it. Now what you'll do is you'll, with your hands, grab the diced onions, just sprinkle a little on top, like so. Now what you want to do is you want to grab your cilantro and just sprinkle it over. And like I said, cilantro is very strong, just like the raw onions, so you don't want to use too much of it. Now if raw onions are too strong for you, you could saute the onions a little bit, and it gives it a slightly different flavor, but it's not as authentic. Now, we'll make the standard American tacos. So as we said, there'll be some lettuce on there. You just put it on both tortillas evenly. Some tomatoes, and don't skimp on these because these are my favorite. Honestly, one of my favorite foods. And then finally, we'll have the cheddar cheese. Now I'm going to try the American taco. It tastes great, and that's how you cook on the fly.